All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for another episode of LearnBiz, the podcast. I am Sandy B, and I am here with the lovely Lisa K. How are you, Lisa?
I'm doing really, really good this morning, beautiful Sandy B. It's a beautiful day, and I have really enjoyed the little holiday break thus far.
So we just came out of the Christmas holiday and, all the other hoopla that people like to go through and waste all their money. And now we're at the point where people have finished wasting all their money and they're probably panicking and trying to come up with all the things that they're going to need to do to recoup. I am not one of those people. Thank you, Lord. But it's always great to take a little disconnect from the holidays, and I did definitely take some time to rest, relax, and regroup. Good morning, Rigo. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for tuning in.
Sandy, did you
Um,
hear me just now, or was I muted?
you must have been muted because I didn't hear anything.
I am so sorry about that. I was just talking to myself. Oh boy. So I just wanted to say good morning. I was actually greeting you back saying good morning, beautiful Sandy B, but you didn't hear that. Sorry about that. Good morning, Rigo.
All right. So today is day 2 of Kwanzaa for those that may celebrate the Kwanzaa holiday. And yesterday was day 1. We talked about unity on day 1, and if you are continuing to follow, we are moving on to day 2. So check your Kwanzaa calendar, and make sure that you are following and staying in tune. I just want to talk a little bit about
Oh, wait,
this.
wait, wait, wait. Hold on, hold on. I want to say something about that Kwanzaa too. Day two of Kwanzaa. Do you know what that day is? Umoja is unity, and I think day two is self determination,
Day 2 is self determination. Yes.
which is Kujichagulia in
You
Swahili. Do you
you
agree?
know I'm not going to be pronouncing nothing. That's why I use the word unity. I'm not about to be trying to figure it out right now.
Oh,
So
come on. We have to get out of our comfort zones a little bit.
no, I stick with the word that I can pronounce. Once I can kind of get my lips to form the proper spelling and pronunciation. I just started celebrating Kwanzaa last year, so I'm a
Oh,
newbie at this.
beautiful. Okay, so today is Kujichagulia, self-determination. Go right ahead, Sandy. That's
I'm gonna
pretty
leave
cool.
Lisa with that because I'm not gonna be trying to chop up the people language now. So the only thing
That's
I can
funny.
tell you is the I think celebration of Kwanzaa is a great thing for family, for community, for business, for interpersonal relationships. It gives you a lot of time to sit back and reflect. And just in talking about yesterday, the word unity. I even found that taking the moment to think about that principle and that practice allowed me to really consider some things as I was journaling yesterday. Um, and that kind of brings me to just talking a little brief moment about our Learn Biz Entrepreneur Journal.
Oh,
Lisa and
yes.
I have now been journaling for more than 30 days. We
Yes, we
started our
have.
journaling process back at the end of November.
Hmm.
And this has been a really interesting process. We definitely encourage you to go ahead and get your journal. We hope to get our journaling group going as we
Yes.
top off the first of the year, the first week of the year. So stay tuned for that. But you can purchase your Learn Biz Entrepreneur Journal currently now on Amazon. You literally will just type in Learn Biz Entrepreneur Journal and you can order your copy. And it comes pretty quickly. So take advantage of this opportunity. This has been our journaling for business process, which allows us to learn, build, and grow our business daily with
Yep.
a daily touch.
I love it. I love it. It has given me so much discipline in my life. Who knew that a book could give me this much discipline in my life?
Hey, just a few blank pages, an opportunity to really think and reflect over your day, or if you're just starting the day, reflecting on yesterday, however you choose to use it. But it's definitely been a great tool and resource. Um, so I'll go ahead and kick it to you, Lisa. You're gonna kick us off with our fresh new year, 2023.
Yeah, so we have to think about things as we go into a new year. We have to think about things personally in our lives, Sandy. We have our personal lives that we have to reflect upon, and then we have our business lives that we have to reflect upon as we go into a new year. That's a huge burden, right?
It's definitely a process. It gives us a lot of anxiety around the holidays, as far as I'm concerned.
Right, because you have to think about, like, okay, what didn't I get well this year? And what do I need to really work on for next year? And what do I need to start with right out the gate? I mean, if you really think about it, it really puts a lot on your brain right at the end of the year, at the beginning of a new year.
Yeah, so you just have to really take some time. That's why for me, it's important to take some time off during the holidays. I know a lot of folks are like, we have to grind, we have to grind, we have to grind. Well, grind means breaking down. So if you're breaking yourself down, I don't know how you're going to build yourself back up, because you really need some time to decompress. And I think it's a great time for you to look over your numbers for the year. It's a great time for you to think about all the things that you wanted to accomplish this year that you didn't, so that you can now effectively start planning for the new year.
Right. And I agree that, with our journal, as we keep talking about putting things on paper, is that discipline. Taking some of these things out of our head and putting them on paper is great. So, Sandy, I know that for this time here that we have today, we're going to spend time talking about um, our goals for 2023, our business goals. So, what's on the horizon in terms of what we're planning for 2023 for our businesses? So one of the things that we always talk about, and I will bring up a little list after we kind of kick it off ourselves, but we talk about automation, and that's something that I want to concentrate more on in 2023, is how to become more automated in my business so that I'm more efficient, proficient, spending less money, being less wasteful. You know what I mean? All of those things. I want to become more automated in all aspects of my business that benefits my customers. So that's one of my New Year's resolutions for my business, since we're concentrating on the business part today.
So I will say, there are a couple of things that I've been thinking about when it comes to automation, because I started my automation process back in 2020. When
Hmm.
we were locked down in COVID, I was already probably about 50% virtual, and I
Nice.
decided to go 100% virtual during COVID, and I have not turned back. I know a lot of people have gone back to the regular routine, but in my opinion, technology has taken hold, and it's taken hold in a way that allows you to be more efficient, to save time, to be more effective. And so automation is something that I've been working on very heavily over the last few years. So
Yep.
now, taking from automation, my goal is to work on scaling. And when I say
Ooh.
scaling, is just becoming more than just me, the workhorse.
Yes.
So, and it doesn't mean that I need to hire, a bunch of people. It doesn't mean that I need to do all these things, but I need to change up the way that I'm doing things, so that the business is less reliant on me. That's the first. And the second thing that I really want to do, as I move into 2023, is spending more time delegating. The things that I think that I can accomplish, that I know for fact are taking up too much of my time, I have to find a way to make sure that someone else is doing those things. And
Yes.
so all of the systems that I'm putting in place right now, some of the changes that I'm making now as I hit the end of the year, especially now that I don't have a partner, there's a lot of adjustments that I've made,
Hmm.
is going to help me scale, and is going to help me delegate more.
I really love that, because you talked about having put in systems of automation in already, before now, which is kind of where I'm looking to do, look what I'm looking at now. So you're at the point of scaling. So after you automate, That's it, people. You can begin to scale. And so that's beautiful that you're talking about that path, and getting people in place. And when I think of scaling, Sandy, I think of being able to actually kind of like step away from the business and it still operate and flows the way it's supposed to, and everything that's supposed to happen within that business process happens.
Right.
That's it, right?
I mean, that's the ultimate way. And it also incorporates, creating a team, whatever that may look like. Many times we think we have to have a whole bunch of people to have a team. Well, even in my initial virtual days, my team was virtual staff. So I would pay for certain services, I would pay for certain assistance, and it wasn't one of those things that I would have somebody every single day. It was really just knowing that I could delegate, certain initial processes in a case to someone virtually. It was knowing that I could delegate certain steps in my process when it comes to the automation part. So, as an example, I used to manually take appointments
Mm-hmm.
and schedule consultations and manually send the link for payment and manually do all these things, which was really dumb on my part because there are a million and one forms of software that can be used to automate that process. So when I started to look at different systems, I was like, okay, let me try something. And now it's basically someone goes on to my site, they can click on the link to schedule their consultation, they make their payment, and they choose their date.
That's
Now,
beautiful. That's a system. That is
it
a system.
yeah, now it requires some back office things that people don't think about because people sometimes think automation just means, all right, it's out of my hands, it's in somebody else's hands. Yes and no. It's out of your hands, but you have to set up the framework, the
Right.
foundation in order for that system to work effectively. And then you have to constantly be tweaking that system to make sure that you are not losing people in the process. Like if your link doesn't work,
Yes.
we got a problem, right? If
Exactly.
if your calendar is not accurate, and then you're having to call people back and say, oh, I'm no longer available on that date. Nah, you need to update your calendar first. And then you can tell
Exactly.
people to go to the link. So
I've been in situations where I've been on the phone, like customer service, and it'll give you all these teleprompts. Hit 1 for this, hit 2 for this. And literally with some of these businesses, I've hit 1 or 2 or 3, whatever was applicable, and it nothing happened. It's like hit 1, and I'm like, okay, I just hit 1. I'm gonna hit 1 again.
yeah,
It's when, so that's a sign when people need to do probably a little bit more checks and balances to make
right.
sure like their automation is working correctly. So yeah, we do have to do audits once we put those things in places, but in place, but they do work. They definitely do work. So let me share this list because everybody has their thing that they need to work on. So, I got to get in there and check the size of this. That's pretty small right now, right?
Yeah. Um,
Okay, hold on for a
I
sec.
think if you close the window a little bit more, you might be able to get it to be bigger.
Um, let's see. I probably don't know. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's getting bigger now.
Okay, should it be bigger?
If you can make it.
Um, I I can try to do it a little bit bigger. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so this is kind of like 6 business New Year's resolutions for happier employees. So this kind of fits into something that Sandy and I talk about all the time, and that is taking care of our health and wellness. So what does this have to say? So it's from December 2022. A summary: successful businesses value employee satisfaction. Here are 6 New Year's business resolutions for happier employees you must implement in 2023. And what are they? Number 1, Streamline processes. Ah, we're just talking about that, right?
Yeah, you got to make it more simple, make it workable.
Absolutely. So that's something that we need to do for 2023 if we can. I think this flows right into it. Encourage autonomy. So when you think
So,
about autonomy, what do you think about there?
I guess I guess this is focused on the context of if you have a business and you have employees. I guess if I can relate it to my circumstance where I don't technically have employees, I have more like contractors and services.
Mm-hmm.
It's giving people the opportunity to do their job. Most of the time, we tend to micromanage when we hire people. We want them to do it exactly this way. And that may not work in all contexts. Like if it's if you're creating a product where you have to have certain quantities, then that kind of makes sense where you would do something in a rigid, very specific way.
Right.
But when you have something like a legal business, like we are law firms, or you're a consultant, or you have a service-based business, we tend to think that we can micromanage people. And unfortunately, that's not how this works. You have to give people an opportunity to do their job. You define for them what you want, finished product wise,
Right.
but how they get there and what their product actually looks like versus what you anticipate it looks like may be two very different things. So it's important to not micromanage. It's important not to hover over employees. Give them a chance to do their job. Tell them what to do. Give them your parameters, give them your template, give them your style, and allow them to do it. And then if they don't do something right, then you can work with them and figure
Right.
out, how to get them to where you want them to be. But you can't do it by micromanaging.
I totally agree with that. Number three is put an emphasis on recognition. I think that kind of flows in from number two as well. You basically encouraging autonomy and you're recognizing people for what they bring to the table. What their value is, what they add. And I think that's a great style for a manager is to uh, just recognize employees for their value and find opportunities and occasions to do that regularly.
Yeah, and if sometimes people think that they can't do this with other types of workers. Even if you have contractors, like in my case, when
Yep.
holidays come around, give them a little something, give them a little boost, a little bonus. Recognize them, acknowledge the work that they're doing,
Right.
praise them. But this also falls in line with if you don't have employees per se. Let's say you don't have any at all. You may outsource by using some technology. This also goes with acknowledging your customers, your clients, your consumers of your products and services. You want to acknowledge their support of your business. You want to acknowledge milestones in your business and let people know, hey, thanks for getting me to 1,000 subscribers. Thanks
That's
for getting,
true.
thanks for being my 100th customer. Thanks
Right.
for supporting my business. Thanks for choosing my business.
Wow.
A lot of times when I get a new client, the first words are, thank you for choosing my law firm, because it is a choice.
It's a
They could have
choice.
chosen a million and one other law firms.
That's so true. I really like the really good thoughts there. The next one is promote flexibility. These are all really good things. This has probably more to do with, like it says here, customizing work hours, maybe giving people the ability to work remotely if it doesn't hurt you, um, paying people appropriately, creating opportunities for great work life balances, things like that. And this one I like too. That's in there. Maybe a 4-day work week in some cases, and paid time off in other cases. That's great. These are the things that make people stay with an employer like forever.
I'll tell you, ideally, I would love to have a 3-day work week where I'm working Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Monday is more back office. Friday is more personal, professional development. That is my super goal. I may have to put that on my potential goals for 2023, but I would love to have a 3-day work week. I think in the context of employees, flexible schedules are perfect.
Yep.
I love having contractors for this very reason because I don't always need somebody 9 to 5. I'm not even a 9 to 5 person. Um, my office hours for a long time were 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because my partner was an out of state attorney, so we had a time difference.
Yeah.
But I love the later start time in the day because it gives me time to deal with certain issues with the courts and stuff in the morning, and then I
Mm-hmm.
can deal with client concerns later in the day. Um, Flexible hours for employees can be a huge perk, especially when you have folks who have families,
Yep.
maybe caring for elderly family members, etc.
I totally agree. And this next one I really, really love, and it's only six of them, by the way, but build a culture of communication. I really like that. I like when people talk to each other, voice ideas, concerns, because you know what? You can find out how things can be completed more efficiently, more timely, just better. What that communication flow is so important. And when it shuts down in a work environment, my warning would be beware.
Yeah, I've definitely seen this in play both in my work environments and business. Um, if you don't have regular check-ins with the folks that you're working with, whether they be employees, whether they be contractors, whether they be outsourcing, companies that you hire to do certain services, if you have a partner, if you have a team, if you're not communicating with them in some way, shape, or form on a regular basis, it can be problematic. And I'm not saying it has to be weekly. I'm not saying it has to be daily. It has to be according to the terms of your type of business. If you
Right.
have a law firm, for example, it might be wise to have some kind of a weekly, maybe even daily check in, especially if there's a lot going on and you have heavy caseloads. If you are a retail service business, that might be helpful for you to have regular check-ins because you're dealing with products that got to go out, you're dealing with customer service, you're dealing with billing, invoicing. There's a lot of moving parts. So it's important for us to have that open communication.
And
And
think
and
about
an email works well. Like we don't need to have it in person all the time,
I
people.
like that part. I really do love that part. Because we don't always have to be on the phones or on a Zoom. Like you said, email works as well. And texting works well. People don't take advantage of texting as I think as often as they should, but texting works well too.
Right.
Think about employees like in my case, a realtor. A lot of folks that go into real estate, I mean, you're kind of working out on an island. Your broker a lot of time is telling you to use your sphere of influence to go out and find people who are looking to buy real estate, within your farm market, your area, that kind of thing. And it can be very discouraging sometimes if things aren't popping, moving, happening the way you think they're supposed to. So when I started with Keller Williams, and it's an agency that has its agents come together every single week for some type of staff meeting that's mostly like a motivational rah rah rah, get charged up, get back out there.
Right.
So I think, again, even if you have people that work alone, having them come together regularly to tap in to a source of strength within an organization is extremely important.
Absolutely.
And then number six is support professional development. For me, I would say we do that kind of as a part of our career choice. Being in law, we have to take continuing develop educational classes in law, and we have, and for me in real estate, the same type of thing, taking continuing education courses in real estate, getting certifications. Very, very important, and I love that part, and we do provide those things here on this platform too.
Yeah, I think there's nothing like professional development. If you're not spending money on improving your skills, your knowledge, and also supporting your staff, if you're going to have staff, they got to be trained on different things. And it all depends on the type of business that you have. But if you're not taking time aside to do this on a regular basis, you're at a loss because you're going to miss out on a lot of things that are out here, especially when it comes to the tech space.
That is so true. So these again are things that you don't see it that often where it's a list that's really focusing on how do I make my employees, the people around me, happier in the coming year, and keep that group very tight knit and just really in touch. So I really like this list for that. This is from elearningindustry.com. And then Sandy, I'm hoping I'm jumping to my next slide. Can you see that?
Um,
It's
yeah,
called
I see
10.
it.
Okay, 10 best business New Year's resolutions for 2022. I just want to just kind of run through this list. Again, people have different ones. We're throwing out the question to you, anyone out there who is listening, or if you may take a listen to our show later. The question is basically, what is your New Year's resolution for your business for 2023? So that's what we want to know. Think about it. Definitely write something in the comments and let us know what you're going to be focusing on in your business in 2023. This list, again, we'll just run through it. If you have a comment or two, definitely let me know. But here's some other things to think about. One, creating a realistic organizational process. That sounds like the beginning, right?
It should be.
Two, learning to be okay with outsourcing. Sandy, can you give me a reason why people are not would not be okay with, like I've learned to appreciate outsourcing beyond anything else. I can't think of why someone wouldn't love outsourcing.
Sometimes people's personalities don't go with outsourcing because they want to micromanage. They want to be in control of every little detail. Sometimes people don't want to spend money, even though they're spending money on a regular basis on all kinds of nonsense. Um, Sometimes people don't appreciate or understand how outsourcing can save time.
That's what I
Um,
think it is too.
as an attorney, if your hourly rate is a few $100s an hour and you're doing things that would cost you $10 an hour, don't you think that you should like pay somebody the $10 and you do the things that are the $300? But most
Mm,
of us don't think about that. We think about, we get money, we just want to take all the money, but outsourcing costs money and it comes from the money that you're making.
exactly. And your time is value. Time is money.
Time is big money.
Big
It's
money.
more money than we anticipate.
Absolutely. Oh boy, this is always on our list for the beginning of the year. Update your business plan. And if you haven't written your business plan, to write your business plan. And it says it right here. This is a first step for starting any business. Now, did I start any of my businesses the right way? No, but I'm going to encourage everybody else to do it the right way. I have since done that, but I didn't start it that way. But this is the right way to start. Any thoughts on this quickly?
I think the challenge is this: many people go into business and they don't go into business because, hey, I just want to start a business. They go into business because they need to start a business, right? So they need the money, and maybe they're doing something that, is a skill of theirs. And so they start making money. And the unfortunate part about it is, as you need to do all of these things, you forget that you have to have a split of time. This goes with my concept of, well, it's not my concept, but it goes with my belief that we have to work evenly on our business as we do in our business. So
Yes.
if you are not juggling between the two worlds, you're going to have a hard time doing this particular step. And just like I didn't start any of the businesses with a business plan because these were things that I was just naturally doing based upon my training, my skills, or experience.
Mm-hmm.
So, in retrospect, it makes it easier to create these plans because the hard part about creating a business plan is you have to kind of forecast a bit. You have to
Yep.
predict some things,
Oh yeah.
but you also have to take some time to think. And we don't like sitting down and thinking. We like doing.
Right.
Um,
Don't want to think about it, just do it. But
yeah,
no, sometimes seeing it on paper, it is you can actually analyze your business a lot differently on paper than you can just in your head. you know?
Yeah.
All right. Number 4 is to refresh your marketing plan. Now, a lot of people don't distinguish between a business plan and a marketing plan, but they are really two different things. Your marketing plan is your strategy for how you're going to promote your business. Do you think that that is something generally that should also be done at the beginning of the year? I mean, here it looks like you should set it out at the beginning of the year.
I mean, I think your marketing plan, much like your business plan, is not really limited to one time frame. I
Hmm.
think you have to do them ongoing. So whenever you choose to start it, if you make the error of not starting at the beginning of your business, it's whenever you start it. And once you start it, you have to keep adding to it and making adjustments to it, because it's not one of those things that you create and then you just put it to the side. Marketing changes as seasons change, as holidays change, as quarters change. So I think marketing plans are ongoing changing things. And I don't really feel like there's a time frame. I think sometimes people want to isolate it to a time, but we're not built like that.
Well, I know one thing, it should definitely be before that automatic subscription rolls over. Definitely you want to get whatever you had in place that wasn't working in the last calendar year. You want to go ahead and get rid of those things and make sure they don't roll over automatically. And if something works, keep it. If something didn't work, get rid of it and make your changes. So yeah, I think you're right at any time of the year when it's appropriate, but you could definitely look at the beginning of the year to see what you think you might want to do for marketing for the whole year. And then the next one is expand your network. That goes without saying. You talk about that all the time. Comment,
Yeah.
please, on this one.
I mean, I think we have to think about who we are, and the style of things that we like to do. Expanding your network can happen in a lot of different ways. For me, social media has been the primary means of expanding my network. And early on in my law firm business, I spent a great deal of time everywhere. I went to every event you can think of, every group that you can think of, every organization that you can think of, so that I could figure out what I liked. And then once you find that pocket, that group, that thing that you really enjoy, you'll find that your network will expand without you even realizing it. So to me, it's just tapping in.
Nice.
And with technology, that tap in looks very different. There are a lot of networking groups in the online space, whether you're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn,
True.
there's a place for you, and you just have to tap into that place.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. I love those comments. And I love the fact that we can do it physically and virtually now, right? And virtually is just as important as physically. Like I love that part, right?
Yeah.
Because it didn't used to be. I don't know that the same emphasis has was always on virtual as it is now. Pre-COVID, especially.
Yeah.
Next is identify customer service missteps. Oh boy, how many people don't really want to know the mistakes they made? Like they really don't want to face their mistakes because it hurts. It hurts.
Man, let me tell you something. I think I've learned so much from all of my missteps, that I could probably do a course and help people to not experience some of the turmoil, especially when it comes to the financial side of business. I think the finances of business have been the hardest things for me, is understanding, taxes and tax liability, understanding how to deduct things. People
Mm-hmm.
think, oh, deduct everything. No, pay yourself,
Right.
have a payroll, deduct things that you need to deduct. Keep in mind how much you want to come into your pockets, because when you're trying to buy a home or get a loan or do certain things, you have to be able to reflect income. If you're
True.
deducting everything, you can't reflect income.
That is so true. That's true. That's a good point. People want to write everything off, but then you write everything off, you like you said, you have to show income, right?
Yeah, you can't do that. You got to know what works for your business, and that comes with you taking the time to figure things out and not just following what you see people saying on social media. Because social media, I'm going to tell you something, is a crapshoot when it comes to business. It is the worst guidance that you can take in business, because people don't vet sources. They just look at something and they say, hey, I got to do that. No, you got to look at the information, look at the sources of the information, and then you make decisions for your business.
Absolutely. And this next one says, look at automation opportunities. We talked about that already, so we can keep going. But there's automation in invoicing, managing inventory, customer service, bookkeeping, sales, etc. Sandy was talking about the phones. So just automation for everything you can possibly do. Make it easier on yourself. The next one is prioritize company culture. This kind of flows from what we were talking about on the how to make employees happy side. Um, One of the things it says is consider surveying your staff on what changes they would like to see culture wise. Then work toward developing a company culture that reflects your business values and prioritizes the needs of your staff. Happy employees are good for business after all. So I think it flows back into kind of getting your employees involved on what they think as far as what makes the environment work better, more efficiently, letting them be involved. What are your thoughts there?
Um, I, I think culture is a challenge for me because, and I'm going to speak for me as a virtual business owner.
Hmm.
Um, it's tough because you are the culture. So
Right.
it's kind of hard to create an environment when you're not really in some ways dealing with others regularly. So I will say that I don't really have an answer to that. I think you have to create a situation that you are happy with, and if you're happy with it, um when you bring in folks like contractors, or maybe you might temporarily work on something with someone, that you have something set up that they're going to also feel comfortable with. So you have to think of
Right.
others in the process and not just yourself if you're working virtually like myself.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I also would say is that if you're moving yourself out of the picture and you're encouraging more autonomous, work activity with employees and independence and that type of thing, I think that really comes into play a lot more. To let folks be a part of those processes, like they're a part of the environment. So I love your thoughts as well. The next one here is I totally agree with this. Build a website. Um, I know some businesses feel like they don't need websites because there's social media, there's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's Twitter. But I think a website is to me, it's always a good investment. It's like one big, gigantic business card for your business.
I unfortunately don't really share that thought process.
Okay.
um I think you can have a website. The problem is, are you using your website? So I think if you're going to build a website, you got to be using it, because it's a cost to operate a website, right? You
True.
have to be maintaining it. You have to be checking up on it. I had a whole fiasco with my website recently where I didn't even know that the sucker was down.
Hmm.
And now I'm trying to kind of rebuild and reorganize, which is fine by me, because I had a lot of stuff I needed to do on my site. But the reason I didn't know it was down because I wasn't using it for anything.
Right.
So
Right.
I think if you're going to build a website, there has to be a use for it, which means your social media is directing people to your website. Your email campaigns are directing people to your website. Your conversations, if it's on your YouTube channel or on your Instagram, or if you're speaking to people, you're directing them to your website. Because nowadays, a lot of people seem to drive people to their Instagram, right? Or to their
Mm-hmm.
TikTok or something like that.
That's
So that's
true.
the only pushback I have. If you're going to have a website and not use it, there's no point. But if you're
Got
going to
it.
have a website, you have to have something that people are regularly coming to your website for. You need a blog or something. You need some
Right.
specials to drive people to your website. You need to have some challenges or something engaging that people are going to do as soon as they see your website and they have to click on something to do something.
I love that. I love that. So build a connection so people have a reason to come back and forth to your site constantly.
Yes.
That's really great. And then this last one here is beat burnout. Again, this goes to health and wellness without even, thinking about it pretty much. A leisurely holiday break, going to France like Sandy did earlier in the year, just
You already know.
doing some things, for the mentality, right?
Hey, I'm about to work on those YouTube videos to show you guys my whole trip. I have a whole series lined up.
Ooh.
I haven't had a chance to work on it, but I'm going to shut it down a little bit for this holiday so I can work on those videos. But,
I
you
would love
know,
to see those.
the word that I have to say about burnout is this: we can grind all we want, but I want to remind people what the definition of grinding is. It is breaking down.
Mm,
And I don't think that that is the proper term to describe what we should be doing with ourselves, our bodies, our minds. We need to be working smarter. We need to be working more efficiently. We need to use technology for what it provides. We need to use people for what they can provide. And I don't mean use, but I mean maximize your usage of assistance. But that
yeah.
starts with you organizing yourself. And I will say from my own perspective as well, I work on these things as well, trying to do better and make these experiences better. So don't let yourself be broken down by your business. There's no grinding. There's working
Mm-hmm.
smarter.
I like
There's
that.
working with perspective, with focus, with foundation. So get rid of that grind, late night, early morning. I don't mind if people want to work late. I don't mind if people want to get up early, but there has to be some balance in between.
It really does have to. You just cannot burn yourself out at both ends and think somehow that that's going to be okay for you to operate your business on any scale, right? You just can't do it. You're going to burn yourself out at both ends, and you can't operate that way. So, really good point. So, I am going to stop sharing now. I'm glad that we went through some of the lists that are out there that people, kind of have gathered and put some thought. That was from nerdwallets.com, by the way. But I think they're good to go through those. I think they're all really good. And whatever you decide you need to do for your business, just definitely go ahead and step out on that. That's what I would encourage everybody to do.
And I love what Rigo is saying. It's best to just work smarter, not harder. There's a lot of different ways for you to get things accomplished, and you just have to figure out what that way is for your particular business. And again, here goes the plug. I'm gonna plug it right now,
Go right
guys.
ahead.
Go ahead and get your LearnBiz Entrepreneur Journal. It is now available on Amazon. You could probably get it in a couple of days if you order now. This is a great tool that we have been using for the last over 30 days
Oh,
to
yeah.
really organize and make sure that you are learning, building, and growing in your business every day. So you got to put a daily touch onto that business. Guys, you can find us on Instagram at B is for Biz. And please know that we are now also on TikTok. So I'm going to add that. Check out our TikTok. We're going to start putting some little snippets of our content on TikTok because we've seen some really interesting trends on TikTok that I really like.
Yeah, and if you want to support us financially, definitely feel free to do that. We want to make sure that we can stay in this space and keep bringing you great content. So for now, you can support us on Cash App at $LearnBiz. And thank you very much.
All right, guys. I hope you all have a fantastic Tuesday. We coming up on the new year. Hey, Lisa, we're not going to have a show before the new year, so I don't know. We might need to talk and see if maybe we can do a little impromptu or something.
I
Rigo
think
says,
so.
and just the acronym of grind should be go recruit in tune with yourself.
Whoa, go ahead, Rico. Go
Never give up
ahead.
and be determined. That's the grind.
Okay, we gonna have to work a few of them, but I feel you. Yes, sir. You got all the words in there, all the words. Just might have to line them up a little bit, but yes, sir. I feel you.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Rigo. So guys, stay tuned. We'll probably pop on before the new year because we'd like to say a few words to you guys before the new year. So check us out on Instagram, check us out on TikTok at B is for BIZ. And stay tuned for our next Tuesday episode, which will be in the new year.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say it now. I'm going to say Happy New Year, realizing that we do want to try to squeeze in here once more before the new year, at least, right?
Yeah, we definitely need to try to do once more and be able to do that.
Hey,
Happy holidays, Doug.
hey,
We miss
Doug.
you.
Doug, I hope that you had a good holiday and happy new year to you and to Rico and to all of our supporters throughout the entire year. We love you guys, and it wouldn't have never been the same without you. I can promise you that.
Absolutely. And Doug, when you get a chance, go ahead and jot down your New Year's resolution for your business in the chat. That is our topic today, that we are trying to make sure that folks are centered on how they can really kick off the year in a grand way. Rigo says, what's the link to donate? You can go to Cash App and just type in the $ LearnBiz. But we'll also put the link in the description of this video so that you could easily just click on it and make that happen. Happy New Year to you, Rigo. And Doug, yes, indeed. Same to you.
Yes.
Doug, check us out on Instagram and on TikTok. We just started our TikTok. We're trying to post some content over there as well. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah,
But
we're
thank you guys
building.
so much.
We're building it up. Okay.
All right, guys. Have a great one.
Toodaloo.